Hello, welcome to this episode of Inside the Academy Studio.
Today's conversation will be about Danny Boyle's 127 Hours. 127 Hours is a movie about Aron Ralston, an adventurer and outdoor enthusiast who gets trapped in a precarious position until he finally finds a way out. This was an interesting movie. It was a story that obviously some people were familiar with, some were not. So, What did you think? What were your overall impressions?
Yeah, I definitely thought this is the kind of movie that benefits from 10 nominations, most definitely. This is more of Danny Boyle, more experimental films. You know, this is because just to focus on one character for 90 minutes and just story of survival, and it goes even beyond that, the story of his regrets, his regrets, his life. It's a very experimental movie.
That's an interesting point you raised. Danny Boyle is an interesting director. He does various genres, and I think with this movie again, he proves that through his editing technique and through his way he builds a narrative, that he can do any genre. You look at Trainspotting. You look at his previous movies like Sunshine, and
he goes into the zombies. It's 128
days later.
Yes, that's a movie title.
Yeah, I really think that this is just another feather in his cap. It's a movie that we have seen before. That one character thing. You think of Castaway, the Tom Hanks character.
Yes.
I think James Franco equally did a great job of maintaining that presence on the screen. And I think that's an interesting point because James Franco is somebody that, we really... I don't know if we've seen him evolve, but he does a lot of different things. So how do you evaluate James Franco now from his early TV days where he did James Dean to Spider-Man roles? What is James Franco? Like he's a verb or something?
James Franco kind of... I think he's proven that he can play with this movie, that he can play different roles. Like, before... Like, he kind of...
Not necessarily different roles. Yeah. I think he's very good at playing the sort of role that this movie is about, that kind of person who has maybe not too many inhibitions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think we've necessarily seen his entire range. I think he really definitely just plays swarmy kind of mid-20s, early 30s kind of person, but I think he does it well.
Like the guy who has nothing to lose, right? He does play that well, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, a lot of people were aware of this film because of the incident where Aron Ralston, played by James Franco, was trapped under a boulder for 127 hours, so a little bit over, I think, 5 days.
Yeah.
With very little resources, excruciating pain, until he finally was able to remove part of his arm and escape. I think that scene is very, very not explicit, but very, you kind of come down to it, and I think it really pays off. So, what did you think of the scene?
The scene? It was, like I said, it was graphic. So I don't know what you mean by explicit. Like, you mean like it didn't really focus on it, but you did.
I mean graphic. Yeah, you did. Yeah. You saw it, the literal tearing of tendons. Yes.
Yeah, it was a. It was, like I said, it's the definition of a bittersweet moment in a movie. Like, he does eventually get saved because of it, but it also, he's cutting off his own arm. Literally.
Really bittersweet? I think it would be nothing but sweet. He's somebody shown up through the movie, kind of lives by himself, is really not grounded to anyone. I think in some ways it's an achievement that he was able to do it, right? We see how he kind of grew apart from his girlfriend, how he's kind of really distant from his mother, his sister. So I think it was a really sweet movement that it may have changed his life after the fact, and I think we did learn the things that he started a family,
Yeah.
But at that point, he was able to, I guess, achieve the unachievable and get out.
Yeah. And then you never know. I don't pretend to know about Aaron Ralston's life, but it might have helped him later on that how he just found those people and then they helped him out, and then that might have changed his perspective on life too. Like
You mean the people who rescued him?
Yeah, people who rescued him. Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it was more the moment in its entirety of being trapped, being able to. Because I think there's a really, really great scene where he kind of hosts a TV show, and you see a little humorous side of himself.
Yeah,
it's something, when you're by yourself in this position, you have a lot of time to think, and I think the movie really tries to portray that he thought about basically every aspect of his life. That's an interesting question I'm going to ask my co-host. What would you do in that situation? Arm underneath boulder. What do you do next?
What would I do next? First of all, it goes back to I would probably not do what he did. I would probably tell everybody that I was going. So I'd probably just
avoid the situation altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see myself being put in that situation, right? I mean, I just don't have I don't know about you, but I just don't have that mentality to just go out there and just go into the face of the wilderness. Well, it was more of the desert, but just face nature full on, like Aaron Ralston obviously does. He still does. It does mention that he's still climbed all the Colorado 14ers. He continues to go on adventuring. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I think that was one of the more impressive parts, and I think we really helped this area. I think the way Danny Boyle was able to capture that part of Utah. I was not aware that. You think Colorado, you think Arizona, Nevada. You don't think Utah when it comes to this picturesque landscape. So I think it was really beautifully shot in that aspect, and I think it will be only a plus for Utah.
Yes. Not just for Sundance and Mormons anymore. Sorry for the offensive comment.
Yes.
Was it really offensive?
Okay. Let's talk about James Franco. He is he's nominated for Best Actor, and I think it's a role that he really, I guess, had a chance to explore with. You're not limited by interactions or maybe external conflicts with different characters where you have to play. So it was really an acting tour de force. So everything, he had to capture the scenes. He had to link the scenes with himself, with his emotions. And I think it's really a role that, it's difficult to achieve, but I think he does a good job at it.
Yeah, and I think he did have not to take anything from his performance, but he did have a bit of help because James Franco is one of the few people that actually view the footage that Aaron Ralston filmed while he was inside that, while he was trapped under.
That's a good point. Boulder, right? That's a good point. Aaron Ralston, I think, has only shown a couple of people, and Franco is definitely privy to it, and I think he used it to his advantage.
Yeah.
Okay. We're almost nearing our end of this episode, but like always, we like to end off with questions, a staple of Inside the Academy studio. So we begin with favorite moment.
I think definitely my favorite moment of this movie got to be when he goes to an entire scenario of his survival. Like when he goes through, okay, even if my coworker realizes I'm not there, he'll call. Then it will take 24 hours for a rescue team to be sent, and by that time I'll be dead. So I think that's when he fits that realization that he's on his own and he has to do something right now.
Well, my favorite moment was, it came earlier in the movie when he was showing those two girls around when they're between those two bold.
That's because you're a Lizzie Kaplan fan.
Lizzie Kaplan was not one of those girls. That was played by Katie Murray and Amber Tamblyn. Lizzie Kaplan was.
Thank you for correcting me.
Aaron Ralston's sister. We saw her briefly at the end. Congressman Posey was also good, known as Fleur Delacour from the Harry Potter movies. My favorite moment was, when he told those two girls to trust him, and then he let go and he fell into that almost spring lake water thing. And I think it was a very, very exhilarating moment for the characters, and it looked great on screen. Least favorite moment? I think my least favorite moment was probably a little bit of that scene, which maybe I didn't understand. It's not really a moment, maybe a part of the story is with the origin of the boulder, where they show the boulder at the beginning as a huge boulder. Now we have to assume that this boulder has entrapped him. I think it was a little convoluted, the connection, and I felt we were asked to make a connection, but I don't think everyone was able to, and I wasn't able to, so I felt that was a little weak and something I did not enjoy.
See, for such a short movie, it's hard to find a least favorite moment, but then I guess my least favorite moment would have to be, I think I did not enjoy watching the amputation scene, even though I knew it was integral to the story, but it had to be done, so I think that's what I'll pick as my least favorite.
Okay. And our last question is always word association. When you think 127 hours, what word do you think of? Water. I think of water. Water he had to drink. The water in the lake. It's water for me.
Alright, after watching the movie, I just had to come with the obvious one, Boulder. I mean, the Boulder is the co-star of this movie. I mean...
Alright, so the two words that we associate most with 127 hours are water and boulder. This is our conversation of Danny Boyle's 127 hours.